For us to keep focus, there are some spiritual discipline that we also need to do. There are some spiritual discipline we need to do, which today we are going to look at one of it, even as we walk in this line. To be aware, awareness is necessary. Because sometimes people lose focus because they are not aware of what is happening. Or either because they are ignorant or they are weary, they are tired about things. But awareness, to be awake and be alert, will make you to keep focus. Now, I read to us our scripture this morning. That was Matthew 26, 36 to 46. Stay in the context of that text. If you follow the background well around this place that I read, this Matthew chapter 26, it takes us into the final hours before Jesus Christ was arrested and crucified. That was towards his end time that he had with his people when he was being arrested and he was being crucified. And after the Last Supper that he had with his disciples, where he Passover meal with them and instituted the Lord's Supper. That is when this incident happened. And Jesus led them. He led them to a place called Gethsemane. Now, the context in which he's talking from Gethsemane. He led them to a place called Gethsemane. And what is happening in this place is really interesting. I looked at it, I started laughing. Now, in this moment, what was happening in this context is that in this moment of agony, that Jesus Christ is facing this trouble and these things in his life that he's going to face. Jesus asked his disciples, what he asked them to do was to keep watch and pray with him. Keep watch and pray with me. You know, nowadays, sometimes people will say, I beg, pray with me. People take it lightly. It says, keep watch, pray with me. But instead of standing strong in prayer with Jesus, as Jesus called them, they grew drowsy. They fell asleep 3 times. Instead of being alert, instead of being awake, instead of being conscious, instead of paying attention to what is happening, they slept up to 3 times that Jesus came and keeps asking them. While they slept, Judah was already on his way with soldiers to betray Jesus. That's why he came to the point of it. He says, here comes my betrayer. He says, people, be awake, be attentive, watch out. And he called his own people that he thought they were his own people to watch with him. Now, this passage here shows the contrast between Jesus' spiritual vigilance in prayers, his spiritual vigilance in prayers, and the disciples' spiritual weakness, their own weakness in sleep. How Jesus was vigilant in prayers and how his disciples, they were weak. The disciples of Jesus were weak in sleep and they sleep. This passage also teaches us the urgent need to depend on God in moments of trials. You see now where the issue of awakeness and focus, this one is just bringing us to the point and causing the believers in Christ for them to be aware the urgency that we need to depend on God in moments of trials, in moments of temptation, in moments of weariness. This is an urgency. It's a call. That in the moments when we get into trouble, when we are weary, when we are tired, when we are fed up with things, this is a call for us to be awake and look up to God. Now listen to this kind of funny story. I know many of us must have fallen short or must have been in the kind of illustration I want to give here. And I ask it as a form of question first, which I know you must have been there. Have you ever tried to resist sleep? Have you ever tried? Let me just make a kind of question. How many of you have tried to resist sleep? Some of you are even resisting now as I'm talking. I said this example is almost for everybody that you resist. You open your eye like Mr. Ibu to take watch and watch for money. Take sticks and put like this. Put your legs in water. Eat kola nut. Kola nut is in your mouth and even falling from your mouth. Now, almost everybody in this place, either in the church or even somewhere that you are resisting like this, you are sitting like this, and you are feeling like what is happening. That's why I say I ask as a question. But I know for sure, not with certainty and not with facts, that almost a good number of people here face these kind of issues. Maybe While studying late at night, you just go like this. CA is coming the next day. You open your eyes, you are thinking about CA. Sleep is not respecting CA. It's not respecting whatever you need to do. Or during a church service, like I'm saying, a message is going like this. You say, I want to hear that message. You just hear like this. And the frustrating thing in the church is that people sleep in the church and program their legs. They are sleeping like this and they are still tapping their legs. It's like somebody is sleeping. You tell the person, are you sleeping? You say, I'm not sleeping. Nobody sleeps in the church and you get the person's up and says he's sleeping. Have you ever noticed that? Especially those churches that have chairs that have benches. Somebody put their heads like this. You come. I love those kind of ushers. I just tap the chairs. Because I also tested it before. When they tap the chair like this, when you get up your head, are you sleeping? Your head is ready. Your eyes are red. You say, are you sleeping? No. I'm not sleeping. And when you get up, you make sure you make sure you are shaking your head. You are accepting to what they are happening. Many of you have done that thing in the church here. Are you sleeping? No, I'm not sleeping. Yes. Because that's a kind of, you want to resist sleep. You say, no, this sleep will not happen. In a service like that, people also sleep. After a busy day, somebody just come out from school. He has been running and trying to do a lot of things. Come to the church now, his Bible studies. As they are talking, the person is like, hey. Some get up from bed. They are coming to the church in the morning like this before you discover they are sleeping. Those kind of things, you see, many people, they try to resist sleep. At first, sometime when you are sleeping, this is what you tell yourself. I will be awake. I don't want to sleep. Nobody sleep and say, I want to sleep. Especially in a service where the sermon is sweet. You tell yourself, I will be awake. Nobody purpose in his mind that immediately I enter the church, I will sleep. But when you come, that part of it is there and it says, I will stay awake. I just need to focus. I just need to listen to what is happening. But your eyes become heavy that you cannot stand. You cannot really get the things that are happening. You nod your heads. You do all kind of actions on everything that happens to somebody who's sleeping. And you're asking yourself, what is really happening here? Let me tell you, child of God, no matter how hard you try, the body eventually gives in. It gives in because sleep is stronger than willpower. Did you get that part? I want to lay this foundation so that you know where we are getting to. Sleep is stronger than willpower. Because the willpower is, I will not sleep. I will stay focused. I will hear. Sleep said that your willpower. I will challenge it today. So sleep is stronger than your willpower, especially when you are weary. When you are weary, you are tired. Now, with that, I just want you to get that point very strong because it has a lot of things to do as today is concerned. And that's exactly how spiritual weariness works. Now, you are looking at physical weariness. I'm leading you, telling you that spiritual weariness also is very strong. That no matter how you purpose in your mind that I want to stay awake, I want to stay focused. When you are weary spiritually, sleep eventually takes over you because sleep has a way of dealing with people. It's stronger than your willpower. When we try to resist temptation, when we try to resist discouragement in our own strength, child of God, it's like trying to keep our eyes open when sleep is overwhelming. When you try on your power, now I will run away from discouragement by my power, by my strength. I will run away from sleep. I will run away from whatever is happening. By your power, sleep will still overtake you. Now, one thing I want you to know is that our flesh is weak. Did you say that in that text? I will touch it a little. Our flesh is weak. That's why Jesus told his disciples in Gethsemane. He told them, he made it clear to them in Gethsemane. He says, watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. Because that temptation that you need to be awake, needs to be awake. Watch and pray that you may not fall into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's verse 41 of our text. It is weak. So, child of God, today we will learn what it means to stay spiritually awake in a weary and tempting world. You know, if we cannot stay awake in a weary and tempting world, the focus will never be. We can only stay focused. We can only determine and face the test of time when we are awake. And that is why this morning I want to talk under what I titled, Stay Spiritually Awake. Child of God, I charge you that you should stay spiritually awake. Because we are talking about eternity. We are talking about focus, eternal focus, heavenly focus. There's no way you will do heavenly focus, you will do eternal focus with your own physical strength. You must be spiritually awake to be able to stay focused. When you lost focus from spirituality and you are not awake in that direction, child of God, the next thing that will follow you is that you will fall. So what am I saying here? What is the first thing I want to bring to your knowledge this morning? The first thing I want you to know this morning is that I want to establish, point number one, the struggle between willing spirit and weak flesh. The struggle between willing spirit and weak flesh. That is the first point I want to establish this morning from verse 41. Verse 41 which says, watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. The struggle between willing spirit and weak flesh. Verse 41 of that text. Jesus Christ, in his mind, he knew and he understood very well and very clear that his disciples wanted to be loyal. They wanted to be loyal to him. None of them says, I want to just do it my own way. I want to just go against Jesus. I want to do my own things. Many of them, and Jesus Christ knew for sure that his disciples, they were ready and they wanted to be loyal to him. That is why he says, the spirit is willing. He's the one making that statement. The spirit is willing. He had this in his mind. Another thing there was that, but he also knew their human weakness. Though he had this one, he knew their human weakness. That's why he comes to their human weakness, says, the flesh is weak. So these are the two things that you see in this place. That Jesus Christ, he knew very well that his disciples wanted to be loyal to him. And yet the same way, he also knew that their human body was weak. And that is why he says the flesh is weak. Like you have a student who is resisting sleep while studying. You have that kind of a student desiring alone. Let me tell you something. Desiring alone is not enough. When it comes to focus, when it comes to getting focused to eternal issues, desire alone. A student, let me bring an example. A student desire to study. A believer, a fellow, a worshiper desire to listen to the message. But coming out from a stressful day, and now the willpower of sleep takes over that person. The student's desire to study and pass and make it well in his exams. But what happens? The desire, that's his desire. But now, the weariness, the sleep comes and takes over that person. So desire, like I said, desire alone is not enough. You stay and say, I desire to be a child of God. I desire to live out of temptation. I desire not to fall into temptation. I desire not to do not to do any wrong thing again. If you ask many people here, they say, I desire to live faithful. I desire to live for Jesus. I desire to do these things. I desire. All the desire is not strong enough to keep you child of God. Many of us have a good intention in our Christian walk. We have good intention. I want to save God. I want to be faithful. I want to do the right things. Those are good intentions that if you ask many people sitting here, they have good intention in our Christian walk. Praying more, resisting sins, loving others, but willpower alone fails us. I want to pray more. I want to study God's word more. I want to love others more. I want to resist sin. I don't want to fall into temptation. But child of God, willpower alone will fail us. One of the things we need to know here is that we must acknowledge our weakness, not hide it. We must acknowledge our weakness and not hide the weakness. Now, I'm giving you strategies of staying focused and not hide our weaknesses. Now, I'm trying to establish the struggle between willing spirit and weak flesh. Now, let me establish another thing here, which says like the second point is the command to watch and pray. The command to watch and pray in verse 38 and verse 41. The command to watch and pray. Now, Jesus did not just say, stay awake. No, that's not just what he said to them. He said, watch and pray. Stay awake. That's not just all he said. He says, watch and pray. Now, when we talk about watching is being alert, descending spiritual danger. When you talk about watching, it's being alert, descending spiritual danger, that you are conscious. Now, when you come to praying is drawing strength from God, not from ourselves. Now, the praying partner, you draw strength from God, not from ourselves. So, he joined these two and say, watch and pray. Being alert, descending spiritual danger, and draw strength from God, not from ourselves. Because in our own, from ourselves, we can fail. Remember, we are coming from when we know that we draw strength from God, not from man. That the Lord will always strengthen his own people. When I say these things, have you ever tried to resist sleep and you want to flash water on your face? You flash water on your face and say, you take even the one from the fridge so that will be very cool, and you flash it over your face. Immediately you are entering, sleep say, here I come, here I come. So child of God, splashing water on your face, or drinking Coca-Cola, or drinking coffee, or eating cola nuts in your mouth helps for a while. But only God's spirit give lasting alertness to our soul. Only the Spirit of God, the God's Spirit, gives alertness in our soul. So no matter how you flash it and do what you need to do, it keeps you just within a moment. Even now as I'm talking, somebody is struggling with sleep because the weariness has overcarried the person. Because I don't think any person will come to the church like this and willfully want to be sleeping. Child of God, prayer is our lifeline in temptation. Prayer is our lifeline in temptation. When you are in temptation, what keeps us? Prayer is something we need to keep doing as children of God. It's our lifeline in temptation. Without prayer, we're not off spiritually. Did you get that point? What will keep you alert, what will keep you awake is prayers. Pray so that you will not fall into temptation. If you don't pray, what happens is that you are going to sleep. You are going to knock off your head spiritually. And if you know what sleep will do to you when people are awake and paying attention to something, what sleep will do to you, it can mess you up. Have you ever gotten up in sleep, that kind of sleep that they are getting you are sleeping, you are refusing, and you got up and you are just going to pick something they have not asked you to pick? I saw one on social media, a teacher struggled on the board, struggled so well, through the intestine of man, all those parts, all those complications, he struggled, and one guy was sleeping in the class, he just tapped the guy, got up, and the guy got up, just picked the duster, went and wiped that thing that the teacher was drawing, and the teacher just looked at that guy and say, what can I do to this guy? Now, when you are sleeping and they get you up or something getting up with that noise, can you imagine after struggling the part intestine, naming all those things and taking a long time, and now you want to start explaining to the children in class, and somebody just got up. Immediately he got up, he just picked the duster, wiped that thing. That is what, when you sleep, even in the spiritual realm, you just get confused in doing things that open you to trouble. Sleep can cause you even miss things that you need to hear. Things that you need to hear, you just miss it because sleep blocks your mind. Because when you are sleeping, it's like a brother to death. You are off. You don't understand some things. I'm sure the difference between sleep and death is that sometimes in sleep you can dream. You can dream. And some dreams are not real. In the spiritual world, some people are fake dreaming, and they are applying fake things in this dream because they are sleeping. So I want to just show you the danger of sleeping when you need to be awake. Instead of running and going towards Malingo, you are running and going towards Sopo because you are sleeping and you did not get the information. That is what sleep can do. So we need to pray always as people of God. It's our lifetime. The question I ask you here, when was the last time you prayed earnestly about your weakness instead of just trying so hard? I'm very weak in this area. As you see me, so I'm weak. People acknowledge their weakness, but now, how long have you taken time to pray over your weakness? Some take advantage of sharing their weakness. Now my area, that's. Now my area. Now, since we say recognizing your weakness is not a problem, some have recognized and they find it comfortable to stay in their weakness. When your weakness becomes a comfortable ground for you, you are in problem. Because one of the things you need to pray. You need to pray. Why not even pray and confess with one another? Brethren, that can help you. I asked us a question that when was the last time you prayed earnestly about your weakness instead of just trying harder? See, as a tongue swear, I'm not going to ever lie. I don't take decision. 2025, my year of lying no more. You are trying very hard. Before February, you have lied so many things about people. You are not even patient to reach the half of year. You can pray about it. So the command that I was giving, the command to watch and pray. The third thing I want to see from that place to us is the danger of falling asleep spiritually. I started touching it. The danger of falling asleep spiritually. 40, 43, and 45. It gives the 3 times that these people were sleeping. Verse 40, 43, and 45. 3 times Jesus returned and found them sleeping. He found them. They were all sleeping. While they slept, the enemy's Judah was already approaching. He was already approaching, coming. A guard who falls asleep at his post endanger everyone. A guard who falls asleep at his possession endangers everyone. Now, you are sleeping in the house, knowing that you put guard at the outside to be guarding you. The man is sleeping to the point that even the enemy will come and deal with you before anything. It's a danger. It's a very dangerous thing for a guard to be sleeping at his post. Now, I see many people taking with old fathers to be their guard because they say sleep has finished from their eyes. Let me tell you, even those old fathers, they sleep, and which is dangerous to them. Those old fathers, now, there are activities that cause them to sleep, even when they don't need to sleep. Some are going like that, already drunk. I saw somebody going to guard. I said, you want a guard? For God, a guard. Already drunk. Now, he gets there, he sleeps well. And when the master comes, that man can take one arrow and even shoot the master. Because he's sleeping, he's not alert. The kind of action he will do, they are funny actions. And those are the kind of things that happens in the war. When you are the person taking guard and you are sleeping, you endanger the lives of people. You endanger the lives of people. When you need to be awake, you are sleeping. I see people telling me that they work 3 jobs. That in the day, they are in the farm doing this thing, and they will come and spend a night. If you are recruiting that person, you endanger your business, you endanger your family, you endanger your house. That he works the whole day and comes to save in the night. Sleep. And when you ask him, you are recruiting him, will you sleep? No, I cannot sleep. I can watch. So he said, I can watch for Africa. Ibu say, I can watch. Put his legs in water. Open his eyes and support with the sticks. Nothing is working. So there is a danger. I tell you the danger of falling asleep spiritually. It's the worst thing you can do. And that God will put your life at risk. Child of God. Spiritual drowsiness leads to compromise. It leads to compromise. It leads to sin. It leads to missed opportunities. Because when you sleep spiritually, what happens is that you miss opportunities. You get into sin. You compromise. You do things that you are not supposed to do. You get into places where you are not supposed to go. Because you are sleeping spiritually. Do you know the highest time Satan attacks people? He attacks people when they are sleeping. So all the focus you think you will put and every awareness you need you will do, as this focus is concerned, eternal matter, spiritual matter, you cannot overcome the enemy when you are sleeping, because those are the best moments for him to attack. He attacks us when we are sleeping. Child of God, be careful about this. Are there areas in your life where you are dozing or you doze off in your life? In prayers, Bible studies, serving God. Do you have those areas in your life you really know that you are sleeping? Not only sleeping, dozing. You know the people who will doze. There are those ones that they can just get. There are people that get up and sleep like this, deep asleep. They get up like this, go and pick something from the kitchen, come and put in the parlor, and see continue and did not know that something was happening. Have you ever seen that kind of a person? Yes. And it's very normal. It's very normal. You just sleep like that, a cat. Go and take the key from the gate and give to an enemy, open the gate. And he opens it to the house. And the next minute he says, witchcraft. You are sleeping when you are supposed to be awake. That is what happens in the spiritual realm. When you sleep, you even with your enemies, you cooperate with your enemies without knowing. When you sleep in the spirit, you cooperate with them, facilitating the things that they cannot do. Do you know that enemies sometimes get through easily because of somebody inside? A sleeping somebody inside facilitates a thief to come to the house. A sleeping person in the spirit will facilitate the things of the spirit that will go wayward. As you are struggling to grow, as you are struggling to build, a sleeping enemy cause people to come. And you are wondering, how did the enemy come in? There was a sleeping partner. There was a sleeping somebody that gives an open door. Child of God, the danger of falling asleep spiritually. The next thing I want to give to you is the example of Jesus' vigilance. The example of Jesus' vigilance. You see 36, 39, 42, and 44. You will see his vigilance in 36 to 39, 42, and 48. You will see his vigilance. So while the disciples slept, Jesus prayed with intensity. He prayed with intensity. My Father, if it's possible, my Father. Jesus Christ wrestled in prayer. He wrestled in prayer, aligning his will with the Father. He says, Father, let not my will. If it is possible, he wrestled in prayers. And said, if it is possible, my Father. So even as you get focused, you can only wrestle in prayers. As you do this part, child of God. Jesus Christ, he stayed spiritually awake so we could be safe. I just imagine if Jesus have joined these people in sleeping, oh, salvation gone. I said sleeping makes you mix up some opportunities that you cannot get it. I thank Jesus for Jesus. That if Jesus Christ was not awake, we'll not talk about salvation today. That he prayed so that we might be safe. And you are sleeping so that your nation will be safe. You are sleeping so that your family will be safe. No, you don't save a family by sleeping. Proverbs talks about those a little sleep brings poverty, brings trouble, brings confusion. Just a little sleep, child of God. Our Savior conquered temptation by prayer. Yes, he conquered the temptation by prayer, showing us the way to follow him as well, that we can also conquer temptation in prayers. We must learn to fight the sleepiness. We must learn to fight the sleepiness of our soul and earnest prayer and surrender to God. We must do it if we need to make progress in this life. Let me show you another person that can cause trouble to sleep. Many of us, I know many people here who can drive, and many are driving. Many people are driving. The first day I drove in the night, I thought those who drive in the night, they're not normal. They have some spiritual, until I finally continued in the driving, then I understood that it's something you can also do. But child of God, I want you to just imagine a driver on a long highway at night who is driving 70 seaters with 70 people on a long highway. He tells himself, because that's what we will always tell ourselves, I am fine. All things they fine. I am fine. I will make it. I will not sleep. That's his desire. I will not sleep. But his eyelids grow heavy slowly as he's going. The eye is getting heavy. He's struggling to control. He rolled down the window so that air can blow him. And some, when they roll down, air can blow them. The next thing you will see them do, they put very high volume music. Boom, 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 boom. Sometimes you see this music that some of these drivers play, they don't hear what they are playing. It's just, they are looking for something to keep them. And you tell a driver, that music they disturb. And that time I say, that man is foolish. He does not know that it is fight. I sleep. I am trying to overcome. Very high music that is there. And even slap his face. Am I there? He slapped his face once over and over, and he tried to keep himself. Because I did that sometime. Are you there? So that I will not sleep as I'm driving. For a moment, when you do that, it works. Music, you want to just say, boom, boom. It works. Sometimes it's making that you just tap yourself. It works for a moment. Yes, those of you who are driving, you will know that it works for some time. But the question is, how long is this going to work? Though we know it will work, how long will it going to work? I've done that before, and before I discovered I nod my head, and which was dangerous. And you can imagine the kind of things that can happen. And suddenly, that kind of a driver would do like that. The next thing, suddenly, he bangs the car. The car moves to another direction. A few seconds, he sleeps again. And again, you see him entering the bush and coming out. I've seen it. Many of you must have also watched that happening. He gets into the bush, he comes out. Let me not go into that story. You can tell the story more because you have seen it and you know it. But what I see from this story is that is what spiritual sleep does. As you keep getting into the bush and keep risking the life of people and keep getting these things, the moment you sleep 1 second on the steering can end the life of a family. It can end the life of a generation. I mean, 1 second, it can just kill a whole family. Like I said, the story behind this is that this is what spiritual sleep does to us when we sleep. It may not seem serious at first time, because yes, I can still manage, I can do this. It's not really serious, but just a few moments of spiritual carelessness can wreck your walk with God. I mean, a minute, just a second of spiritual recklessness, it can mess up your spiritual life. Like I said, a spiritual seconds of sleeping in a car can kill the whole life of people. You can just mess up your spiritual life. Some people are where they are because of a small sleep. Some spiritual giants, some leaders, they are where they are just because of a small seconds. It looks like it's nothing. Yeah, I can still be managing it. I can still be trying it. I can still be struggling with it. Just a second. It can take you off, child of God. It can take up your ministry. It can take up your family. It can take up things you have worked for years without getting it. Jesus calls us just to try harder to stay awake. He calls us to try harder to stay awake. But to watch and pray. He knows our weakness. He called us to try to stay awake. But to watch and pray is because he knows our weakness. But he also offers us his strength. He offers us his strength. Child of God, note this point and note it very well. One thing you need to know is resisting spiritual sleep is not about trying harder. Resisting spiritual sleep is not about trying harder, but about staying connected to Jesus. I wish you get that part. Because when you try harder, your harder will not end you anywhere. But you stay connected to Jesus. It makes a lot of meaning to you as a child of God. Like the tired disciples that we see in this text, we may fail, but Jesus stayed awake. We may fail, but Jesus stayed awake, prayed through, and went to the cross for us. We may fail, like the disciples of Jesus Christ. But Jesus Christ, listen to that statement. He stayed awake, went to the cross for us. He did this for us so that we can stay connected with him and also be a better people. We can be connected to him. Jesus is all we need to stay connected, to stay focused, is Jesus. Through him, through Jesus Christ, we have the strength to stay alert and stay faithful in this world. Through his strength, we can do that. Child of God, I ask you a question. Where are you dozing spiritually? Where are you dozing spiritually? Another question I ask you is, will you commit to watching and praying daily? Will you commit to watching and praying daily? Are you like the drowsy driver? Is that your life? Are you like a drowsy driver, telling yourself you will be fine while slowly drifting to the forest? Are you like that driver? Or will you be like Jesus, alert, prayerful, and surrendered to God's will? Will you be like Jesus? Don't let your soul sleep. Child of God, don't let your soul sleep. Don't let your soul sleep. Stay awake, child of God. In prayers, stay awake. In the word, stay awake. In your walk with Jesus, stay awake. If you want to keep focus, I remind you of this, child of God. Just as your eyes eventually close when sleep overcomes you, your spirit will collapse if you do not lean on Jesus Christ. Your spirit will collapse if you not lean on Jesus Christ. And when your spirit man collapse, it's a dangerous thing to you, child of God. I want you to keep this to your mind. Watch and pray. Watch and pray, for the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Only Christ can keep you spiritually awake. Nobody, nothing, no situation. Without Jesus or without Christ, sleep overcomes you. With Christ, we stay awake and endure. Listen to what I've said. Without Jesus, sleep overcomes you. With Jesus Christ, we stay awake and endure. We can endure to the end. We can endure to the end. It will stay connected with Jesus. But without Jesus, we will sleep. Without Jesus, we will give up. Do you want to finish well? Do you want to keep on in the line? Watch and pray that you may not fall into temptation. Stay spiritually awake, and you will know the season. You will know the time. You will know your direction. You will know your focus. And you will pray God's will for your life and for your future. I don't know who has been sleeping. I don't know where you have been sleeping. But the charge to you this morning, awake, awake, stay spiritually awake. As there is danger in sleeping physically, the danger in sleeping spiritually, it can turn your family, your background, your ministry, your finances, whatsoever, it can turn you off. When you sleep spiritually, you can facilitate the activities of your enemies. Your enemy may come and use you. Instead of blocking the gates, you open the gates. Your enemy may come and use you. Instead of safeguarding the things that are under you, you release it to your enemy. Are you sleeping? Child of God, I want you to be awake. I want you to stay up. God is calling on all of us. Stay awake. Stay awake. Can you just make that prayer? Remember, it's not only a desire, because desire will fail. It's not only a desire.